What's going on YouTube? JT Reborn here, and welcome to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about Teen Titans issue number 40. That's right, this is the last month before the final month of Adam Glass's Teen Titans run. Next month, we're going to have two issues. This one's written by Adam Glass, of course, and Robbie Thompson, who's going to be taking over the book. Like I said, I'm not too familiar with Robbie Thompson and some of my previous videos, but he did write a story in the Robin 80th things that's going to lead into the Teen Titans annual, and I actually thought that was quite good, definitely addressing some of my criticisms I've had with what's going on with Damian, especially with Bruce's character too. So I'll definitely try to talk about that at some point. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and talk about this issue. Overall consensus, I did like this issue overall. It definitely had some things that reminded me of like the movie The Frighteners, when Michael J. Fox has to have an out-of-body experience in order to catch like the Grim Reaper, who in this case was Johnny Bartlett, if you haven't seen the movie. Or this kind of also gave me vibes of, what's that other movie? Flatliners. Yeah, this definitely kind of gave me the vibes of the Flatliners a little bit, because they basically have to shut their hearts down and go to hell to save their friend, which tells me that I guess when they die, you're supposed to go to hell, but like in this case, like, I don't know, if they're all supposed to be like heroic, why are they all going straight to hell? Unless they have to do it under certain circumstances to get to, I don't know. It's kind of one of those crazy things. Do they just not go to heaven despite all the good deeds they've done? I don't know. It's kind of one of those things where I'm like, when they die, do they all go to hell, or are they judged? I don't know. It's, something kind of confusing. But let's go ahead and we'll read the issue description like we always do, and we'll go ahead and go over the issue. Djinn War continues. Not much of a war, not much of Elias, though. Elias and his army of genies have begun their assault on heaven, and the only person capable of stopping him is his younger sister Djinn, who is currently trapped in purgatory. But Robin, Crush, and the rest of the Teen Titans have a plan to bust her out, and the road to purgatory goes straight through hell itself. But how do you get to hell, you ask? Simple. You only have to die. Okay, so yes, they went to hell, and now they have to make their way there. So anyway, so the issue begins, and we see Robin, Damian talking to them about the whole circumstances. We have this character of Jakeem Thunder, who's trying to get his genie back, and Damian's just saying, okay, this is like a one-way street. The only way through there is through purgatory. Everybody's kind of questioning him. It's like, Robin, how do you know any of this? Wait a second. So Damian reads the book here, but did they also not read the book? Because hell is, I don't know. It's just kind of one of those things of like, I thought Damian gave the book for them all to read. I figured Emiko would have read it, considering she's kind of the closest to Damian in terms of like strategy and all sorts of stuff. So anyways, Damian pulls out like his strategy to defeat all the members of the Teen Titans. Say one of them goes rogue, and this is a way to put them all down. It's kind of a funny moment too. It's kind of like one of those Batman moments where Batman would do something like that. I assume you all have a plan to stop me. You're unbelievable, man. This definitely feels kind of like the new writer jumping into. And as you can see, the artwork has changed a little bit too from the previous issues in the run. So anyways, Titans have to go under, and they got to save Djinn. I like how he even gives them, like, okay, who's with me? He's pretty much going in solo, but the first one there is Crush, and then everybody was just like, okay, we're going to do this as a team. I like that. There's definitely feels a better sense of unity in these last two issues than there have the entire run all together. But yeah, so they have to go die, and then they kind of go into hell, and this damn thing just does not want to load today, does it? So anyways, they go to hell. They have to go to the gates here. Robin, we find out that Damian was kind of alert the whole time he was in hell. When he initially died beforehand. We're going to kind of get into that in this issue. And then we also have a bit of Elias, but really not much of him at all. I mean, if this feels kind of like they're building to some big world-ending story, but if there's only like 2 issues left in it, it just doesn't feel like we've really built that up enough. It feels like we just got introduced to Elias, and now he's already storming the gates of heaven, and that's kind of it. And also, are we going to see God, like literally God, in this book? I would be just, I don't know if they're actually going to do it. Probably not, but I'm kind of fascinated. So they actually go to the gates of heaven, which is, I can't wait. I just want to know what's going on here. But anyway, so they end up going through hell. Damian's the only one who's been here. We kind of find out something really tragic about him is when he was initially killed by the heretic, he was alert of what's going on the whole time. And you see kind of like this really kind of sad, tragic moment where he was just a 10-year-old kid murdered, and he just spent his entire time in hell. And it's kind of like one of the sad things too. You actually feel like, holy shit, wow, I'm sorry. And then she's the only one who's kind of impressed by it too. it's definitely kind of a sad emotional thing. So he has experience here, and we find out that he was kind of a lord the entire time while in hell. So the characters go in, they have to face their biggest fears. I don't know about you guys, but this definitely feels like they just kind of took inspiration from Justice League versus Teen Titans. I mean, you have Damian confronting Ra's al Ghul in hell. It's the same. It feels exactly like them. I don't know if they watched it for influence, but you definitely can kind of get some vibes of that here. They have to go to hell to stop like this genie, to like get Djinn back and stop this other genie Elias. It was just one of those things where I'm just like, yeah, it definitely feels kind of like that movie. So then the characters go in, they face their biggest fears. Finally, something involving Wallace. He's pretty much he hasn't really had an arc or any type of role really in this book at all since it started. Like, what's been the big significant change in his character? He's kind of been a background character throughout this entire book. We haven't really seen much involving him since this run began, and I'm kind of disappointed too. I feel like there's a lot of potential with Wallace West, but they're just really not doing much with it. This is the first time I've ever felt really any like some focus on him. Like, there's not really much of a conflict with him and the other two. I don't know. It's just they could be doing so much more with Wallace. But like, this is something like, okay, maybe it's the fears of him becoming his father. What if he was somebody who did something tragic, like kind of like Emiko did? And then we have Roundhouse, and he's obviously got the thing with the sister, feeling the guilt over it. And then we have Red Arrow, and this is kind of a moment here where we kind of find out something where she has to deal with her guilt over what happened with Deathstroke. And I felt like this was the perfect opportunity for them to dive into exactly why she did what she did. For those of you who don't know, back in the Terminus Agenda, Emiko Queen shot and killed Deathstroke, and he obviously came back for whatever reason. I couldn't explain it to you, even if it was so confusing. It was never clear cut. But at this point in the round, we still never got a clear cut answer as to why she did what she did. There's been a lot of theories and speculation around it, like why did she do it? Because when Slade was confronting Damian, he throws the gun down, and then even before, like the issue before, you see her kind of like, don't you harm Robin or anything like that, and she was kind of threatening him, but she ended up shooting him in the eye, and we never actually got like the full legitimate reason why she did what she did. So I figured, okay, so we're in this issue, they're all dealing with their insecurities, they're all in hell, of course she has to confront Deathstroke. You can't run from me, but you can for what you did, and you can't run away from the truth. You're a murderer, this is the path you know. So you see Deathstroke, and he's got the arrow in his eye, you see him holding Kid Flash. This is your destiny. Soon enough, your arrows won't just take my life, but the lives of those you love. So apparently she has strong, loving feelings for Kid Flash, even though we really haven't gotten much of that in this run, aside from a bit of banter, which, I kind of expected them to go in this direction because it just seemed kind of predictable and just like, oh, we're kind of rivals here, and then banter. It kind of reminds me a bit of what they did in Young Justice with, Wally and Artemis. It kind of feels like they're trying to do that in this book. But, yeah, like, for me, it doesn't, I think it would have been better if, it would have made more sense to me, at least, if that was Damian he was holding, because she shot Slade when he was confronting Damian, not when he was confronting Wallace. I think that would have actually been probably the better direction to go in. Like, this here, we still don't have answers why she did what she did. This is your path, now it's your destiny. Why don't we have a clear-cut answer as to why she did what she did? This would have been a perfect opportunity to do so, and we didn't really kind of dive into that, and it kind of disappointed me. This just kind of adds more confusion to it all, and I kind of wish they would just kind of go into that a little bit more. But, like I said, hopefully when the new writer takes over, he'll dive into that a bit more. But again, it's just kind of one of those things. It would have made more sense if it was Robin he was carrying, because she did that for him. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm just like, okay, why did she shoot Deathstroke when he was confronting Robin, Damian? Now you add Kid Flash in there. I feel like that would have been the perfect opportunity to just, put Robin in that situation. But, oh well, I guess we'll have to figure out later on what's going on with that, if we ever do, because there's certain things that just never get brought up again. So anyways, then Crush sees herself. This is her. She just sees her own fear as her mom. We see Damian confronting Ra's, and he's like, okay, I'm better than Batman, better all these things. He's like, you're not real. You're just kind of my own fears. And we see him here. He's kind of like torn between the path of like his mom and his dad, and he's trying to become his own person. And one really sad moment here too. So they have to go find this light to get themselves out of the demon's faith, if it's still there. There you are. You see here, this is where Damian was kind of sleeping in hell, and he kept his light here. But if you noticed here, you can see him. He was alert the whole time he was in hell. It's this nice little subtle moment here that shows kind of like the real sad tragedy of just this 10-year-old kid who was raised in like the worst of circumstances, and he was basically abused as a child like his whole life, and just kind of bred to be like this horrific monster, that and then he had to gradually like overcome that, and then when he came back he was dead, but like he still faced a lot of insecurities. Like, just think of that, like he doesn't know any better. He was still like just a 10-year-old kid, and he was brought up in this lifestyle, and then he finally starts to change, and then he gets murdered. And it was a really sad thing. Go ahead and read Peter J. Tomasi's Batman and Robin run. It is really, really good. But the fact now that I'm aware that he was suffering, like he was alert the whole time he was in hell, and he even has like his things crossed off here, and it kind of adds a bit of like a sense of tragedy, and like creates a lot more sympathy for him. I don't know if this was Glass or Thompson's idea, but it actually is a pretty good idea. But another thing that makes me baffled too is like if he was aware of like what happens when he dies, like under like that lifestyle, why would he under any circumstances go back to like his darker roots? Why wouldn't he just deliberately just want to change altogether? It raises some questions. Like I said, I think this is a good idea, but it also raises some more questions as to why he's doing all these other things. But so yeah, here we go. There you are. They have to go to hell, and there's like, we got to get this light, and we got to get our way here. We got to find our way through the back door to purgatory. Mako says these things. She's asking where Kid Flash is at. You know, they're kind of doing their shtick, and they eventually find the door to purgatory. What did you see? The truth, something I've been missing. Yes, they're probably going to follow up on this, or unless the new writer takes over and completely ignores things. Because when was it Glass who took over? Like, they completely ignored what they were setting up with Damian and Emiko. So maybe when Thompson takes over, he'll ignore this. I don't know. I have no idea what Thompson's going to do when he takes over creatively, or if he's going to be long term or not. So we shall see. But I like so far what he's interjecting into the book. You could definitely feel like the writing style and like kind of the tone of it all. It's definitely feels stronger at this point. And like I said, he did like a little short story in the Robin 80th thing that I actually quite liked a bit. But anyway, so the Titans are here, and they go to save Djinn. And of course, she's really ungrateful and moody the whole time. I'm really kind of sick of Djinn at this point, just how she's been acting towards them. They're only trying to help here. It's like, do not come here. Okay, we're already here. We're trying to save you. Just come back with us. We'll be good to go. But no, they still have to deal with all this other stuff. And then she's like, okay, guys, nap time's over. So they're getting resuscitated. We're almost out of time. You're already out of time, Red Arrow. Does anyone else hear that tone? You're already dead. And I guess they're going to be flatlined. So I'm sure they'll be brought back. But at this point in time, the Titans are in hell. This is kind of the cliffhanger. But we already know, based on solicitations and all that they're going to be just fine. I don't know how Jinn's going to react to it all. But yeah, that's in essence the issue. Like I said, I went through and I covered the whole thing and just kind of covered things I liked and things I disliked. Art style in particular is quite good. I think it's definitely like the character designs are stronger than they were in other issues. At least for Damian, they don't have the weird face that he's been having in some of the stuff that Chang was doing the art for. You can go back and see my other videos for that. But I think the art style is nice. I like the environment's definitely new and creative. They're actually going through hell, and I kind of think like this did a good job diving into their various insecurities. Something that we should be doing more throughout the run, like especially with Roundhouse and that too. Roundhouse has not been my favorite for sure, but I like what they did in this issue. I still have my gripes here and there, of course. I still think they should be moving in a lighter direction, but it seems like they're gradually getting to that point. And I feel like hopefully once Thompson fully takes over this book, we can get something that's more classic Teen Titans. I want them to go back to Titans Tower. I want to get out of their little secret prison thing. I just want to move past this point and move back to something more lighthearted and kind of fun. Actually build on their friendship, because there hasn't been much of a focus in friendship throughout this book. And I feel like the Teen Titans, what sets them apart from the Justice League is they're like friends, they're sidekicks. They were like the sidekicks, but they were like, there was a core friendship there. Like they were friends, they hung out after work basically. Like this is like a team where it's just like, it's all work. There's no like play, there's no like interacting outside of it. They're just kind of like co-workers, and it was kind of like a Suicide Squad book. But with Robbie Thompson taking over, like I said, I like the little short story he did in Robin 80. I thought that was quite good. Definitely dealing with some gripes I've had throughout the book. the chemistry amongst the team, I feel like it got a little bit strong. I felt a little bit more of it in this issue in particular, but there's still a lot of work to be done with that. So yeah, that's in essence my thoughts on the issue. What did you all think of it? Like I said, I like this issue. I definitely feel Thompson's influence over this thing. Once he fully takes over, we'll see how he does on his own. But like I said, based on that Robin 80th issue, from what I saw him writing Damian and all that with his interaction with his dad, I quite like that. I quite like that a lot. So I'm going to see where this all goes from here. I hope by the time this runs over, like personally, I would like for them to kind of just like restart like they did with this team. But we'll see. We'll see what they do. They could just kind of, since whenever a new creative takes over, like there's definitely a change in tone and style with the books. But at least this transition is going to feel a little bit smoother than when Glass took over. Because when Glass took over, it was like the whole other team was just dropped and just ignored altogether completely. At least when Thompson's going to take over, he's going to be picking up right where Glass left off, and he's not just going to like reboot the whole team, at least to my knowledge. Hopefully they bring in some new characters too, because with the Teen Titans, I feel like the roster, they don't have like their... I want to see more. There's a lot of people I'd like to see on the team. I'd like to see John Kent on the team. I'd like to see Maya Ducard on the team. I'd like to see who's somebody else that could be on the Teen Titans. I don't get why Damian didn't recruit her at least, because she's like she considered him like a brother, and even when they were in the Tomasi and like Patrick Gleason stuff and Super Sons, they still had their team up stuff. So I don't know why she wasn't invited on this team to begin with. I don't know where Aqualad's at. Like, he just kind of got dropped from the previous team. I'd like to see this team confront Damian's previous team. That would be something I definitely want to see going forward, for sure. But other than that, what else can they do? Oh, Wally's kids just came back. Like, not Wallace. Wally West's kids just came back. I'd like to see them join the Teen Titans, too. Again, there's a lot of possibilities that they can go with. I'm hoping for the best. Overall, I'd say to check this issue out for sure. It definitely is stronger. The run has gotten better, I think, since Thompson took over. Again, he hasn't fully taken over himself, but you definitely feel his influence on the issue. There's stuff I definitely liked in here. Some issues I still have. For instance, we still don't have a clue why Emiko still shot Slade. Please just give us answers to that. I'm begging you. I really want to know. So, anyways, those are my thoughts on it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to hit that bell for notifications. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. And thank you so much for watching this video all the way through at this point. I really appreciate it. Nothing left else to say. Stay safe out there, everybody. I know this whole like quarantine COVID thing is just kind of driving everybody crazy, but hopefully we can get through this thing. Things can go back to normal. We can go outside. We can socialize. We can have a good time. And the world will be a better place. That's my hope for it. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. Take care now. Bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.